The Language Bridge. How Learning Other Tongues Unlocks English. Introduction. Do you ever feel like learning English is like trying to solve a big puzzle? Maybe the rules of grammar are hard to understand, or there are so many English words, or some ideas just seem too far away. Many people feel this way. We try hard, we study a lot, but sometimes we still don't fully understand. What if the best way to learn English is not just by studying more English, but by looking at the languages you already know, or even languages you are learning now? This book will show you a new way to think about languages. It says that learning English doesn't have to be a hard, lonely road. It can be a journey where you use what you already know to help you understand English better. English can be very complicated. It might feel like walking through a maze without a map, where the rules change and there are many exceptions. This can make you feel stuck and frustrated, and good English skills might seem like a dream far away. But what if the secret is in how languages work in general? This book is based on a strong idea. If you understand how any language works, whether it's your first language or a language you are learning, you get a solid base. This base can make difficult English ideas much easier to understand. Think of building a house. If you know how to build one house, you can probably figure out how to build a different house. The basic ideas are the same. We call this way of learning interconnected language learning. It is the main idea behind the language bridge we will build together. Interconnected language learning means that what you learn from one language can help you understand another language. This includes your own first language with its familiar ways of speaking and a third language you learn later, which might be different. By seeing how languages are linked, you can understand hard ideas better, especially in English. It shows that learning languages is not about learning separate things, but about understanding a system where knowing one part helps you learn other parts. Imagine learning to cook. If you learn to make Italian pasta, you learn about ingredients, heat, and how flavors mix. Then, if you learn to make Thai curry, you find new ingredients and ways to cook. Suddenly, your cooking knowledge grows. You start to see the general rules, which makes it easier to try French cooking with confidence. The same thing happens with languages. Your first language is your first cooking lesson. A third language is a new cooking adventure. And English becomes a new, exciting dish you can learn to make well, because you understand the whole art of cooking. By using interconnected language learning, you will get more than just better English skills. You will understand difficult English books, talks, and ideas more easily and deeply. You will be able to say what you mean in English more correctly and with more confidence, because you will understand the basic structures that create meaning. This way of learning can also make you learn faster, and English, and maybe other languages, will seem easier to learn. You will see languages in a new way, not as separate problems, but as a connected web. This journey will make you feel more in control and sure of yourself as you learn. We will see how understanding verb tenses in Spanish, for example, can help explain the confusing verb tenses in English, or how the way sentences are built in a language like Chinese can give you a new way to think about English sentence structure. In this book, we will explore step by step. We will start by looking at your own language, finding the language tools you already have without even knowing it. Then we will explore learning a third language, seeing how new ideas can make you understand more. Finally, we will focus on building that important bridge, using what we learned to understand the harder parts of English. You will find useful tips, real examples, and clear directions all the way. This book is more than just pages. It is an invitation to learn in a way that is more effective, more insightful, and more enjoyable. Are you ready to build your language bridge? Are you ready to find the strong links that will help you understand English better? Let's start this exciting journey together. 1. Why learn other languages? Learning another language is like getting new glasses to see English better. For example, when you learn how languages like German change words, English grammar, which looks easy, becomes clearer. You start to see how things fit together. Also, many English words come from old languages. Learning about these old words, maybe from Latin or Greek, helps you know what difficult English words really mean. When you learn the rules of a new language, your brain gets better at looking at English. This helps you understand long sentences and even jokes. Understanding how languages are alike makes your English stronger. 1. How other languages help understand English. Learning another language is like getting new glasses to see English better. For example, when you learn how languages like German change words, English grammar, which looks easy, becomes clear. You start to see how things fit together. Also, many English words come from old languages. Learning about these old words, maybe from Latin or Greek, helps you know what difficult English words really mean. When you learn the rules of a new language, your brain gets better at looking at English. This helps you understand long sentences and even jokes. Understanding how languages are alike makes your English stronger. 2. Connections between languages. Learning a new language is like finding a hidden treasure map. You begin to see how words fit together and how sentences are made. This helps you understand English even better. For instance, if you learn how verbs change in Spanish to show when something happened, you'll start to notice how English does this too. This will make it easier to understand things that happened before. It's like your brain sees English not as a lonely puzzle, but as part of a big family of languages. This makes hard ideas much simpler to understand. 3. The role of language structure. Learning how languages work is like finding a secret map. Every language has its own rules for putting words together. When you learn these rules for your own language and then for another one, you create a smart thinking tool. This tool helps you see the hidden plan in English. For example, if you learned how to make sentences in Spanish, you might suddenly understand why English puts words in a certain order, even if it seemed odd before. This idea, where learning one language helps you understand another, is called linked learning. It means that understanding the rules and how words are made in any language can make hard English ideas much simpler to grasp. Conclusion: we have traveled through the amazing world of languages. We saw how learning a new language can change how you think about your own language, and especially how it can help you understand English better. You learn that knowing how one language works, whether it's your first language or a new one, doesn't just give you more tools. It actually helps you build a stronger, more natural way to understand difficult parts of English. The bridge we talked about is not just a picture. It's something real that we have built together, piece by piece. Remember how we saw that looking closely at the rules of your first language, the familiar patterns you've used your whole life, makes the rules of English clearer. This makes English sentences seem less confusing and more predictable. It's like understanding how your own house is built before you try to build a new one, and how learning a third language, with its own special word order and words, often shows you surprising similarities or differences with English. This makes you notice more possibilities in language and think about language in new ways. This wasn't about trying to remember many new words. It was about understanding things more deeply, especially when you read difficult texts, understand complex ideas, or see fancy writing that might seem too hard otherwise. The main idea we explored is learning languages together. This means not learning languages all by themselves, like separate islands. Instead, it's about knowing that languages are all connected like a big web. When you learn one language, you gain understanding that spreads out and makes you understand other languages better. Think of it like learning to walk on different kinds of paths. Once you know how to keep your balance and move on one path, you can use that knowledge on another path even if it looks different. When your brain sees different language systems, it becomes more flexible, better at finding patterns, and better at making connections. Because languages are connected, the effort you put into learning Spanish, Chinese, or even an old language is not taking you away from learning English. It's actually helping it a lot. It's like building a support structure for your brain that helps with all your language learning. The languages you learn become the strong parts and the shape of the bridge, and English is a place you can now reach more easily and with more confidence. Even though we focused on understanding English better, the good things about learning languages together go much further. Studies show that speaking many languages makes your brain work better. It helps you solve problems, be more creative, and even keeps your brain healthy as you get older. By working with different language rules, you are giving your brain a good workout, making it quicker and able to adapt. Language is the way to understand different cultures. When you learn other languages, you begin to understand and appreciate more deeply the different ways people think, express themselves, and see the world. This understanding and wider view are very important in our world today, where people from all over the world connect. This way of thinking about connected languages makes you a better learner in any subject. You start to notice systems, patterns, and basic ideas, which is a skill that is useful for everything, not just languages. So, as you finish this book, think of it as a start, not an end. You now have a powerful way to look at how you learn languages. Whether you are just starting with a new language, continuing your studies, or just thinking about the languages you already know, remember that they are all connected. Welcome the challenge of learning another language not as something extra to do, but as a chance to understand all languages better, including the one you use every day. See every new word, every new language rule as another piece of your growing language bridge. The real power of learning other languages isn't just in speaking more words, but in understanding more worlds. May your trip across the language bridge be full of new discoveries and deep connections.